The e-commerce game has changed, it's true. iOS 14, rising ad costs, stock and production hell, shipping woes. I get it. It's really tough right now. And in 2022, the truth is only the toughest will survive. But I have got good news for you. For strong brands that go about things the right way and have the right strategy, there is still a ton to gain. E-commerce is still growing as an industry, and I'm about to show you how your brand can take advantage of that growth. My team and I help purpose-driven brands turn into wildly successful e-commerce businesses. So if you're ready to light a fire under your digital advertising, then stay tuned. I'm about to show you how. All right, so let's get started with the training. If you are the founder, marketer, or operator of a brand with purpose, then my promise to you for this training is that you're going to come away with complete clarity on how to grow your e-com business, even in this new competitive environment. It's around 30 minutes, and I'm going to share with you the step-by-step growth system we've developed for growing e-com product stores. Now, a lot of this training will surprise you, and though it's easy to implement and works fast, it's not a hack or a shiny trick. So if you're wanting a get rich quick or something like that, if you're a dropshipping brand, then click away now. This is just not going to be the training for you. We have battle tested this system and perfected it over the last 9 months since iOS 14 launched and screwed with all the tracking systems in Facebook and Instagram ads and Google to some extent. So rest assured that this training applies to the current environment that we're now operating in as e-commerce brands. Now, before I tell you about our system, a quick intro. In just over 3 years, I've grown my e-commerce agency to 7 figures, at the same time as growing my little boy. Now, why should you listen to me? Firstly, because product marketing for purpose-driven brands is my absolute jam. It's my passion. It's what I love to do. It's what lights me up. But secondly, I actually know what I'm talking about. So my agency currently helps over 30 sustainable and ethical e-commerce clients scale with Google, Facebook, and email marketing. Before starting the agency, one of my roles was I was the head of performance marketing for Etsy International, where I was responsible for a budget of around $10 million a year. And in my career, I've spent over $20 million on digital advertising. So I've learned a thing or two, made a few mistakes along the way, but definitely got a good idea of what works. And that's part of what I'm going to share with you today. Just a quick flavour of some of our agency clients so you can see the calibre of brands we're working with. We work with mostly direct-to-consumer e-commerce brands, a lot of them in the UK, but many international as well. And we help them scale with these channels. That's what we do. That's what we do all day long, and that's all we do. Now, it's all very well to work with these brands and have this agency, blah, 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 but actually, do we get results for them? That's the big question, isn't it? And that's why you would listen to me if I was getting good results. So I just want to make sure that I share some of those with you, because without that proof, it's all just theory, isn't it? And how will you know this system will actually work? How do you know that I'm just not someone who's made this up? So I wanted to give you a quick rundown of some of the results we've got for our clients so you can get an understanding of or see the proof that this really does work. So last year, my agency grew multiple stores to 7 figures plus. Here's an example, the Shopify store figures for a customized keepsakes brand we work with, who we scaled to £1.5 million, which is over $2 million a year. This wine decanter brand, we scaled up to £3 million in revenue, which is probably $4 or $5 million. And this is another interior baby products brand that we scaled to $2.5 million in sales. So that's just a quick flavour of a few of our clients. Here's an example of the kind of person that we work with. So meet Susie. Started working with her 3 years ago. She was a part-time teacher with a great product and a big idea and big dreams. And we've actually scaled her now to be a multi-7-figure business. She's launched in the US. She's been picked up by John Lewis, which is a big department store in the UK. And we've been getting her 15 times return on her ad spend. So it's been a massive success story and really fantastic growing our brands together. What really unites the kind of clients we work with at WEBTOPIA and in our programs is this desire, I guess, to make the world a better place with products that delight without damaging the planet. We only work with brands that care about the world and their impact on it. So if this sounds like you should keep listening, because you're going to learn a ton today.
And the results really speak for themselves. I'm genuinely quite flabbergasted when I receive the weekly reports and see quite the revenue that the advertising is generating. And then creatively, they really get it. They really are knowing what's working and doing more and more of that to generate an incredible return. So I highly recommend them.
Result of working with WEBTOPIA we've seen for 12% less budget, we've seen a 10 times the amount of increase in sales for Beach. And we've also had 9 times the amount of return on advertising spend. So really, really delighted with the results.
This was actually a 400% increase on the previous year and generated over 1.5 million revenue directly from Facebook ads.
The system I'm about to talk you through is surprisingly simple. It's the same system for brands that we use for brands scaling up and brands already in the high 7 figures. But I want you to realize that the results don't happen overnight, and it only works when applied consistently and relentlessly. And for that to happen, what I've realized working with over 80 e-commerce businesses over the years is that 3 major mental shifts need to take place before this growth system can work. I'll take you through these quickly. The first big shift is realizing that growth marketing cannot be entirely outsourced. And I know this is a bitter pill to swallow sometimes. I know you came at this because you had an amazing product idea. You didn't expect to have to learn advanced digital marketing. You just want to work on the product all day and make an amazing product, and then someone else can do the marketing, right? If that sounds familiar, well, you really need to move on from this type of thinking, because if you are to succeed in today's environment, you need to understand what is basically the biggest lever in your business. How can you possibly outsource the most important driver of your growth to someone else who doesn't care about your business, or possibly doesn't understand either your business or the mechanics of true growth marketing for e-commerce? You need to be in the driving seat for your business, and you need to be controlling those levers. Now, you may have already fallen into this trap of trying to outsource your digital marketing, getting someone else to do marketing for you so that you can focus on the product or customer service or other things that are grabbing your attention. I'm really sorry if you did fall for that and if it didn't work out and you lost money. It's not your fault. I blame the advertising agencies out there. There's thousands of them literally preying on dreams and claiming they can get sales or grow people's businesses or whatever else that they put into their marketing materials. The problem is most of these agencies aren't successful because they aren't experts in e-commerce and they don't have a proven growth system themselves. They're probably a jack of all trades agency. They maybe work across lots of different channels. They have junior people pushing buttons, but they don't necessarily know what strategies are involved in growing e-commerce, because it's not easy. They end up putting you into a cookie cutter system. They get rubbish results and they shrug their shoulders and blame your product or your website. Who cares if your return is chewed up in operating costs and fees? Who cares if your cash flow is a mess? That's your problem, right? Not theirs. Honestly, this is what it looks like inside most ad agencies. They take on way too many clients. They don't hire fast enough and they run around fighting fires. There's no time inside an agency like this for strategy, for really thinking about your business and what's the right move for you to grow. I know because I've audited hundreds of accounts set up by agencies like this. And most of my clients come to me after having been burned by a bad agency. It makes me so mad. It's so unethical what these agencies do. So what's the solution? Well, first and foremost, you need to level up your knowledge. You need to understand the fundamentals of the growth channels of your business. You need to own those aha moments that happen when growth is unlocked or when something goes badly. You need to understand why so that you don't repeat those mistakes again. Neglect this knowledge and you're as good as dead. Founders and marketers need to level up their knowledge before they select an agency. And when they do, they need to make sure the agency is strategic and not just going to push buttons and hope for the best. I cannot say this more strongly. You must understand these systems before you try and get someone else to implement them for you. The second shift you need to make: stop obsessing over shiny tactics. Again, I can't say this enough. Admit it. You've tried a bit of everything. I bet you have. You're searching for that silver bullet. TikTok, Facebook ads, Google ads, Pinterest ad, blogging, Instagram followers, influencer marketing, content marketing, SEO, conversion rate optimization. And the result is you do nothing well and you get nowhere. Does that sound familiar? So what's the solution to this type of thinking? Follow a framework. More on this exact framework in a second. But I just want you to understand that growth isn't about some secret plugin or funnel. I'm not about to teach you about some plugin that's just going to change everything. Some some funnel that no one knows about, that you're the only one and I'm only telling you. Growth is the philosophy of the way you play the game. Growth is a process, a model, a framework, a system. Great brands understand this. They worry less about tactics and commit to working through the process to the good times. And they work through the process even during the bad times, because process keeps you on the straight and narrow path. This training for you and this framework is for you if you are ready to have that proven framework to deliver sales consistently. Because a clear process and plan will keep your emotions at bay. When you have those bad sales days, you'll know that you'll trust in the process and keep going forward. If you can't define how you play the game, if you're making it up as you go along, if your emotions and bad habits decide what you focus on, then you can't expect predictable growth, which means you can never scale your business, right? So that's the second shift. No more shiny tactics. The third shift, you must know your KPIs and obsess over them, really. I can't tell you the number of businesses who come to me and they don't know their profit margin or their customer lifetime value. That may have been okay a few years ago when we could buy traffic super cheap and acquire a customer for £3, $3. It's not going to work in the current environment. Ad costs have almost doubled in the last year. It's going to cost you twice, if not 3 times as much to acquire a customer. Winging it will not cut it. You have to know your KPIs. So the KPIs that you need to focus on are: what is your average order value? You know, how much is a customer spending on your site on average each time? What are they worth to you when they convert? What is your conversion rate? So of the people that visit your site, how many of them are actually buying? What is your repeat purchase rate? How good are you at retaining your customers and getting them to come back? And how much is traffic costing you in the first place? With these 4 numbers, I can tell you the health of your business and how quickly you can scale, or where you need to improve, what the bottlenecks are. You need to focus on them like a hawk every single day. And I guarantee if you do, your business will improve. Now, here's a little bit of fun maths for you. If you improve each of these metrics by just 25%, you can double the size of your business in 30 days. That's doable, right? These four metrics, we call them the 4 multipliers of profitable growth, and they're the only relevant levers when it comes to growing your business. Every action, every tactic, every initiative is merely a means to increase any one of these 4 multiples. Your revenue is nothing more than the traffic you buy or get organically, multiplied by your conversion rate and average order value. The profitability of this equation depends on how successful you are at also getting people to come back, right? So, how do you then, if you're obsessing about these metrics, how do you improve them? Well, again, you guessed it, you need a framework. Improving your KPIs comes back to having a proven growth framework. So let's dig into it. Enough build up for you? Before I dive into the full training on this framework, I just want to quickly set the scene and let you know where this framework came from. So let me quickly tell you about where this framework came from and how I developed it. So this is me on my first day of Etsy about, more than half a decade ago. My mum came and took a picture, how embarrassing, and there I am in my skinny jeans. I swear they were all the rage back then. Point is, I have this background where I'd worked for really big brands. At Etsy, I was spending $10 million a year. Other brands I worked for had similar budgets. I thought I knew, all there was to know about digital advertising. I've been helping businesses grow for the past decade. But about 5 years ago, I quit that corporate world to go freelance because I really did think I was great at digital marketing and digital advertising. But what happened was I started helping these small Ecomm brands, these brands that I was super excited and passionate about. And I discovered that the systems I'd been applying to the bigger brands I worked for didn't work for these small brands. Being excellent at digital advertising for big brands is not good enough. And I realized something had to change. As well as this, the businesses I was working with, unbeknownst to me, still had these same problems that they hadn't made the shifts that I described earlier, those 3 shifts. They still thought they could just completely outsource their marketing without paying attention to it or learning about it. They were focusing on random tactics, shiny objects that came across their path rather than sticking to a plan. They weren't following a framework, and they weren't focusing on the core KPIs of their business. I didn't realize how important that was either. So out of desperation, to help my clients, I wanted to help them. they weren't growing, I harnessed my network. I started talking to the very best ecom experts in the world, people like Ollie Bilson, Molly Pittman, Andrew Foxwell, Deepesh Mandalia. I also bought virtually every course on e-commerce, Facebook ads, and digital marketing out there. I joined several high-level masterminds. I got close to other very successful e-com agency owners and brands. The thing is, I knew marketing and I knew ads. That is true. I had all the ideas, but when it came to working with these smaller e-com startup brands, it wasn't enough. I didn't yet have a system to put together a blueprint to drive growth for these brands. But I started to distill all of the knowledge I was gaining from these courses, from these experts that I was networking with. I was seeing how they were doing things, and I started to apply what I had learned to my clients. I was hoping to find the missing link. Now, there was a lot of trial and error at first. I spent a lot of my clients' money, I'll be honest, on the wrong ads, but in doing so, and that was with their permission, by the way, they were willing to test and learn, but in doing so, I started to see results. So after months of testing, now I had cracked the code for really growing my ecom clients. I started to see amazing results. The reason why is because I did have those marketing foundations. I'd been working in marketing for 10 years, and now I had successfully put together that strategic marketing knowledge with the latest ecom strategies gained from all of the training and networking and studying that I had done. And putting those together, I had finally perfected a holistic marketing system for e-commerce. Finally. Now, once I started applying this system to my clients, I started to get incredible results, and quickly my business was transformed. Word of my success started to spread. I landed a huge ecom client and I grew their spend to over $1.5 million a year. I got invited to speak at conferences to teach my strategies for ecom. My own business and many of my clients went from 10K a month to over 100K a month and beyond. That's my own agency's growth in revenue over the last year. And I now have in my agency a global team with 17 staff, many of them former Google, Facebook and eBay employees, which is really interesting to pick their brains. Facebook, now called Meta, and Google recognize me as a preferred partner, my agency as a preferred partner. And pretty soon, smart ecom founders started asking me to help them grow their sales with my system. More people were reaching out than I could service in my agency, actually. We had to start turning people away. Some of the examples of people that were doing well with this system were people like Rachel from Navy Grey, who was able to achieve a rise of over 10 times for her sustainable knitwear brand. Emma Shipley went from 50K a month in store sales to over 200K a month. And Tom and Dina Cotton made over 1.5 million in sales during the holiday season and ran out of product. The bottom line is the system worked, and over the last 9 months we've tweaked and perfected it for iOS 14. So now is your chance to take a closer look at our blueprint for growing ecom stores using a killer combination of email marketing, Facebook ads, and Google ads. What about TikTok, I hear you ask? It's a valid question, and TikTok ads are becoming quite an interesting space. We're going to be testing them for some of our brands. But I would say if you're starting out that they're not a good place to start, because the Meta Pixel, the Facebook Pixel and the Google Pixel, which is the tracking tool they use to monitor who's buying after seeing your ads, is much, much more advanced than TikTok. TikTok is catching up fast, but the best place to start is with the most established platforms that have the best data. And then once you've got that performing well, you can test on other platforms like TikTok. Now, let's take each piece one by one. The first is email automation. Now, the problem, ads got really expensive in 2021 and performance got worse with iOS 14. If you've been running ads last year, you would have noticed this. Now, email marketing might not seem like the obvious solution to this problem, but if you think about it, actually, it allows you to follow up with people who don't buy on the first visit, even if they opted out of retargeting. And the best thing is you can set it up to automate. You can start a relationship with your future customer and turn a casual visitor into a raving fan. Set up properly, we see 20% of stores' revenue coming from automated email and another 10% from campaigns. So, together, that's 30% more revenue if you aren't doing this well. And the best thing is it's free. You don't have to pay for it over and over, or at least the cost of a subscription to Klaviyo, which isn't much, okay? Compared to Facebook ads where you are paying and paying and paying. Super important, and you can see how by adding this alone, I've said to add 25% is all you need across the different channels in order to grow your whole store by 100%. Actually, email marketing should make up 30%. So that if you're not doing this well, there's potential to grow by even 30%. Now, how does it work? You're going to set up the following 4 core flows. A welcome series, we call them the money flows. A welcome series, ethically indoctrinating people to your brand. Welcome them to your list, telling them what you're all about, why you started. Don't just start sending them email newsletters when they don't even know who you are. The next series you're going to set up is a post-purchase series to get people excited to buy again. Your repeat purchase rate is one of your important core metrics, right? So having a series of emails that automatically go out and get people to buy a second time, a third time, and a fourth time is key. You want a win-back series for those who lapsed. So they bought the first time, but then they never came back, they disappeared. To see if you can entice them back, test different triggers to see what entices them back the best. And don't forget about abandoned cart emails. I'm amazed by so many people who just leave the Shopify standard abandoned cart series there rather than setting up one that's tailored to their business and how their business works. Super important. Now, I wish I had time to tell you about exactly what you should put into each email. We've tested and perfected it, but that's for another day. So, let's revisit those initial 4 core metrics. Email marketing helps conversion rate, average order value, and repeat purchase rate. So that's why it's so important. It really plays into everything. Right, let's move on to the second piece in our growth system, Meta, or as they were known before, Facebook and Instagram ads mastery. Now, the problem, unless you've been hiding under a rock, is that running ads got really hard this year due to iOS 14. The problem fundamentally is there's now much less data for the algorithms and the retargeting capability has been reduced. And this is combined with more competition than ever, and it's really hard to win at ads. Part of the solution is your ads have to tell a story and elicit a direct response better than ever before. The battle is now being fought with creative. In order to have better creative, you need to develop really strong marketing hooks and then find effective ways to communicate them, both through your copy and through your creative. Try every format. User-generated video, mobile first, authentic ads. That's when you film stuff on your mobile. Pattern interrupt. That's when you have kind of something a little bit crazy that looks different to your competitors. As well as sleeker productions. Test everything. You will be surprised what works. You also need to scientifically test your audiences and stay on top of ad fatigue. You might have a great ad, but then if it stops performing, that's time to switch out that creative. And good creative ads aren't enough either. You have to have the right structure and optimize effectively. Since iOS 14 went live, we've found the following to work best. We're testing this all the time and optimizing and tweaking it. But firstly, consolidated audiences. Have at least 5 million per audience. Don't neglect interest-based audiences. Make sure you spend a good amount of time on your audience and persona research, and don't leave any stones unturned in terms of thinking who might respond to your ads. Stacked lookalikes and using on-platform events and CRM lists to seed lookalikes. So at the moment, we're finding large, broad audiences tend to work best, and we use ad set budget optimization as well. Dabber, dynamic ads for product audiences. These are working really, really well. And this is something you should definitely be testing, especially if you have a multi-product e-commerce brand. And finally, simplified accounts to feed more data to the algorithm. At the moment, we're finding large, broad audiences. Yeah, so that's definitely the key. Once you find that winning combination of ad, message, structure, and setup, you are off to the races, ready to scale. But you do have to do a lot of testing to get there, and you do have to spend some budget to test. Optimizing meta ads will help with your conversion rate, traffic cost, and to an extent your AOV and repeat purchase. So circling back to those core KPIs that I talked about, optimizing your ads effectively will have an impact on all of these. Now, let's move on to the final piece in our growth system, Google Ads. Too many people neglect Google Ads because they're not seen as like sexy or seemingly as easy as Facebook or Meta ads. But I'm here to tell you they're an essential part of your e-com marketing system. With 70% of people opting out of retargeting, you need to make sure people can find their way back to you on Google. Google Shopping ads now drive 76% of retail search ad spend. So here is what you must do. Firstly, make sure you have search ads set up for your brand campaigns. So that's when you actually sponsor your own brand name to make sure people can find you. Secondly, get set up with Google Shopping campaigns. The setup is a bit tricky, but once you have them working, they work almost by themselves. You can use smart shopping campaigns. We actually suggest using traditional shopping ads just because you have a lot more control. Smart shopping tends to be a lot of brand retargeting mixed in with actual prospecting, so we recommend going for standard shopping. Finally, do your keyword research and set up campaigns that are highly targeted to people looking for exactly your products. Make sure you make use of match types and use negative keywords to ensure that you're not targeting your ads at people that are in the wrong part of the funnel or indeed interested in products that are similar but not exactly like yours. In terms of setup, we sometimes start by optimizing for clicks, but quickly switch to ROAS or CPA bidding, which allows the algorithm to find people who are ready to buy. Now, key thing here, this goes for Google and Facebook actually, ensure you have enough budget per campaign for it to optimize effectively, and be sure to give the algorithm enough time to optimize and learn. For Google, that's 2 weeks. For Facebook, that's probably about a week. You need to make sure you're running the budget that long when you're using automated bidding so that it can learn and find your buyers. Hold your nerve is the key here. Now, once you have the 3 major parts of the system set up, you now need to find a way to measure and attribute effectiveness. This is really key. So in a world where tracking it's a shit show, let's be honest, we recommend tracking your marketing efficiency ratio to see the overall effectiveness of your paid media and then using platform metrics to optimize. So what does that mean? Take your overall spend, take your overall revenue, divide one by the other, and see how that number changes over time. If it's getting better over time, i.e. more efficient, you know you can scale up. If it's getting worse, you know you have to go and look at where the bottlenecks might be. Where are you falling over? Go back to your core metrics. Is it your conversion rate? Is it your cost per click? Is it your average order value? Is it your repeat customer rate? Those KPIs will ultimately define your marketing efficiency ratio. So really key to look at them to decipher the problem, right? With a clear system for measuring the performance of your marketing, you get to wake up every day knowing how effective your marketing is and knowing which KPIs you need to improve. So instead of confused and distracted, worried and reactive, you have a plan and you consistently execute, and that is how you win at the game of e-commerce. But without a plan, you are planning to fail. And in 2022, more e-commerce businesses will fail than succeed. It's a sad fact. It's a sad reality. So, if you like the training, you're probably thinking, this is great. I'll replicate the system in my e-com business. To do this, you have a couple of choices. You can watch this video again. You can watch it over and over again. You can screenshot the most important slides. And then you can go away and read blogs, hang out in Facebook groups, and hunt YouTube for more information to try and reverse engineer and figure it out. You could spend months trying to figure out how this all works. Meanwhile, the game keeps changing. You bat off shiny tactics left, right, and center, and you stay somewhat confused, let's be honest. Or you can decide to take the next step and talk to me and my team. Now, whether you want to take or keep your marketing in-house, or if you're ready, you're spending enough and you're ready to work with an agency, we have options. We have both options to help you. So, as well as the agency, we run an accelerator program called Ecomm Rockets. It's a closed community by invitation only, and this is how it works. We join you on this crazy ride. We help you copy and paste our growth system into your unique and beautiful business. We help you identify the roadblocks to your success, and we share with you the strategies that are working for our agency clients. We give you the video trainings, blueprints, and cheat sheets you need to apply this growth system with ease, speed, and success. We host multiple live Q&A calls per week that you can join and have my and my team's personal help for you to set it up properly. And you get to network with other people at a similar stage to you, other values-driven businesses that care about the world and want to make the world a better place, want to help each other on this mission, on this journey to create an e-commerce business that they can be proud of. If you have moved beyond running your ads in-house and the accelerator program isn't quite a right fit for you, we can talk about our fully managed service for brands that want to scale to 8 figures and beyond. So either way, the call is definitely the best next step. So if you would like our help to grow your e-commerce business, go ahead, book a strategy session. I'll tell you a little bit about what will happen on the call. On that call, we'll do 3 things. We'll analyze your business, we'll audit your growth systems, and we'll design a plan for growth. We'll see exactly what's blocking you, and we will recommend whether there's a good fit between what we do and what you need. We can discuss how it might work, whether it's in our premium agency growth service or our accelerator. But if not, after the call, you can take what you've learned from this video and our call together and go ahead and implement it. It's not super salesy. It's not a hard sell. If we don't think it's a right fit and we don't think we can get you the results that you're after, we won't recommend we move forward. So there's no obligation, no stress. It's a very low-key thing. So all you need to do is click below, schedule your free strategy session, answer the couple of questions that we'll ask you, and you will speak to one of our eComm coaches. At the end of the strategy session, you'll know precisely what is the right next step for you and your eComm brand either way. So why don't you book your consultation now? Click on the calendar just below, scroll down on the screen. Now you'll see that we're quite busy, so there's only a limited number of free consultations we can do. So what are you waiting for? Here's a few of our current members and past members talking about what it's like in the program for you to have a listen to help you be a little bit more convinced if you're still sitting on the fence. But we don't bite, so go ahead and book a call.
I started off completely clueless, but feel that I actually understand it, which is amazing. I can't believe it. So that's all down to you and the videos. I think the way it's laid out and everything is so easy and useful. And so I found the course absolutely fabulous.
Since we started, always good feedback on the copy, always good ideas on the creative, and always a good bank of different ideas that we can try next. Very happy with the service and meetings, great spending time with Jessie and all the different things that the team's doing. So go WEBTOPIA. Thank you very much.
Yours at the moment stands out and is worthwhile. A lot of what you do is just filled with examples, and it's the examples rather than the theory that really helps to make sense of what you're telling us. The second is obviously being part of a team and listening to everybody else's experiences has been incredibly helpful. The sense of being part of a cohort. So more than just the examples, is the idea of being part of a group and sharing in other people's sort of, trials, tribulations and successes, and feeling that there is a sort of a place, a home where we can go and sort of discuss things if we wanted to, as in the Facebook group, etc. And you have a very clear and very sort of easy to understand way of explaining what in some areas can be quite complex or frankly quite tedious, but you make it interesting and certainly you make it clear.
Before that, we were doing Facebook advertising ourselves and we're really struggling to make it work as a channel. And we were at the point of, do we stop Facebook advertising altogether or do we engage a specialist? And we went down the specialist route, and I'm glad we did. Jessie and her team came highly recommended to me through my networks. And I can understand why. They're just really lovely people to work with. They're super responsive and they come up with some great ideas.
I think the course has been brilliant and really clear because, we've used an agency before and I think whenever I was first thought about coming on this course, I was thinking, I'm just going to dip in. I'm not really going to get, but actually I've really enjoyed, which is such a weird thing to say because this sort of stuff doesn't really, I don't really like doing this sort of stuff. But yeah, I've really enjoyed watching the videos, understanding it, just taking down notes all the time.
She implemented a rigorous testing method, ad creative, copy testing, and she really got to the bottom of the brand, both creatively and copywriting wise. Thanks to this rigor and bringing her extensive expertise on the Facebook ads platform, she managed to drive 25,000 sales via Facebook ads without exceeding the target cost per acquisition, which we hadn't managed to do prior.
By participating in the course, you tap into not only her expertise, but also the expertise of so many mentors that she's been studying with and working with. And Jessie has a lot of practical experience, which really blows your mind because It's all about the nuance in social media marketing, I think, and she knows the ins and outs.
So Claire Rampin says, I've worked with a lot of digital media experts and large agencies, but Jessie demonstrated significantly more strategic and hands-on knowledge of the tools that I've seen in other organisations, always keeping up to date with changes and sharing the knowledge of the team. Joe Metcalf from Thrift Plus said, brilliant. We asked Jessie's help to overhaul our paid media for Thrift Plus. Her work had an immediate impact, increasing customer traffic and conversions far beyond what we were expecting. Jackie McElroy says, I cannot recommend WEBTOPIA enough. I've noticed a massive difference in my business since they took over my Google Ads campaigns, along with integrating Instagram ads and other ideas to keep my business thriving. You won't be disappointed. And finally, Nicole Vanderbilt, my old boss from Etsy, an incredible digital marketing leader. Jessie has been leading our international digital marketing for Etsy from London over the past year, primarily focused on paid digital acquisition through GPLA, SEM, and affiliates. Although her experience also includes SEO, app store optimization, and social, I'd highly recommend her to any business looking to use paid digital marketing as a key source of growth. So go ahead, book your call. Don't be shy. We won't bite. There's no pressure. We would love to help you figure out what the next step is and see you on a call real soon.